So let's start straight away with the man who's actually sitting on the floor right now, larger than life, someone for whom sustainability is a real passion. I've been lucky enough to work with Bill on a number of occasions, and I think you're going to enjoy it. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Bensley.
First case study I want to talk about is the Four Seasons tenant camp. And it's sustainable in one way, in that it sits on 700 hectares of land, and it is a very high, low impact, but very high value. I mean, the people that come there spend a lot of money to do. And in this particular area, it's on the Golden Triangle, and we have 15 tents there. And what I really wanted to talk about, we're looking at the left slide in here. And what I really wanted to talk about was that the idea that since we opened in 2008, it's become very popular. But the real sustainable idea, not that, is the idea that what we did, we took 37 elephants off the streets of Bangkok. And because I've been living there for about 25 years or so, and they used to get hit by the cars. I'm sure if you guys remember that when they got hit by the cars, and they'd have bandages around them. Sometimes it'd be different, very difficult. So what we did is we took them off the streets, put them in this big area that we have for the elephants, and it becomes very much a win-win situation where our very high-end traveler goes there to learn how to ride an elephant, oh, sorry, I forgot about this. How to ride the elephant, and how to commune with the elephant. So it's very much, now, it's very much a sustainable relationship, because we have the land up there, and we have the customers, and we can have the customers then pay a lot of money to do that. So I tell you this because I want to give you a little bit of background on case study number 6, which is our Shintamani Wild. So that's what that is all about. Let's skip over that one. That's another 10. Well, those are really small images, you know. What I really want to talk about is, again, another project in Four Seasons. And I think a lot of you are architects. How many of you guys are architects? Hogban, are you an architect? Yeah, okay. How many architects are here? Okay, a lot, yeah? Good. What I wanted to share with you is a little bit of our trade secrets. And that this is a little project in Koh Samui, the Four Seasons, and it's been successful. But when I started that project, there were 854 coconuts there. And it was very, very well wooded. And what we did is we numbered every single one, and I went to the project and said, this is so beautiful, the site's so fantastic, how do we put this, I think 80-room hotel, Bill Heineke wanted this 80-room hotel, how do we put this hotel in here and still make it work without ruining the site? It's a very, very steep site. So what we did, this is the site here, what we did is we developed what you can just see just here on the left, right in here, the world's first coconut hula skirt. Okay, and what it does is that it allows then the coconut to penetrate all the things that we needed to put on site, and swimming pools and decks and rooms and lobbies, because our coconuts come through all of those buildings. And by the simple device of the hula skirt, and which moves, it allows the coconuts to go through the coconut to move, but also it allows then the developer to develop as he likes. So I really believe in minimal intervention, and I think that's very much sustainable. But in a site like this, as architects, I would encourage you to look at one creating a resort out of tiny, tiny footprints. The smaller you can make the footprints, the easier that they fit in between the trees. Number one, let the trees grow through, right? Don't change the contours of the land. That's the last thing I let on any of my sites, is allow the grading of the contours. Work with what's there, because what's there already has been working for hundreds of years, thousands of years. It works already. Don't change it, right? And make mock-ups of the bamboo houses. Kirsty, you know what I mean by that, yeah, bamboo houses. We went through that before, yeah? And then that's what I mean by bamboo houses. Is that this is a really cool trick. And when you're on site in a very pristine area, make the bamboo houses, make the real volume of the house out of bamboo. And for the Four Seasons there, I went there 17 times. I drove the surveyor absolutely nuts by moving these bamboo houses around, because it allows you then to take the form, and it's totally different than rhino, believe me. And rhino and all those, the perspective sketches, that's all way too high tech. Do bamboo houses, because you can actually stand in the bamboo houses, you can look down the slope, you can see the ridge of the next bamboo house, and you can know whether that's going to work or not. And it's so darn simple. Sustainability. What's that thing? Android AP. The hell's that? Okay. So yeah, these are the bamboo houses that we're doing now for the Capella in Ubud, and this is in Ubud now. So you have to test things, and that's so important for us. Okay. Now, this is really what I really want to tell you about, is that the sustainability of working with people. And this is really close to my heart. 15 years ago, I went to Cambodia. And Cambodia is truly the poorest place in all of Southeast Asia. I mean, you guys in Singapore and us in Bangkok, we know very little about Cambodia, and the real serious poverty that still exists there. And we opened up with my partner Sakun, opened up a hotel that's been really popular now, and the Shintamani Foundation, and to try to basically help the people that are there. We built this hotel called Shintamani. And this is the club. This is the club side. Yeah, this is your favorite part, right? We have the other side of the street too. In December, Angelina Jolie and her film crew took the whole hotel, so we've done very well with that. But the thing that really makes it work, and it's a sustainability part of the story, is that for the last 15 years, we've graduated between 30 and 40 kids every year in our hospitality school. And this is just sort of as we can piece it together. But every single kid that's graduated from that school has now a job. And these are kids that grew up on the garbage dumps in Phnom Penh, eating garbage to survive. So we've made some changes there. We've also made about 1,500 new wells and such that we're going to work with Kohler. Wake up. We're going to work with Kohler on, and I'm going to buy your product in order to do the filters. Yeah. You've had a long night, I can tell. Okay. So we're working with these guys. It's a real simple hotel. And because of where these kids are from, a lot of them work in our hotel now, and they just can't do enough for you. They're just fantastic, so our ranking's really high. We've got a whole bunch of different projects. I've got a farm school there. You know, that's one of the really neat things, too, is that I really advocate towards sustainability is the diversification of crops. Does anyone know what that means? Any idea of that as far as that what we're doing there is so simple, because the Cambodian farmers, They basically plant 5 things, right? 5 different things, and they eat those 5 things. And our program is, through our farm school, is that we brought in 15 more things, like several different types of bananas, et cetera. That is easy to grow and will survive the drought that happens every year. So that's a cool thing. We also have programs for piglets and school supplies, et cetera, et cetera. And then opening these are our kids that graduated last year, et cetera. And our my last, really the most important project that I wanted to give you all the background about just now is that at the end of this year, I'm going to open Shintamani Wild. And Shintamani Wild is really a utopia of sustainability, in that Shintamani, this is in a place called Timor-Room, and no one's ever heard of Timor-Room, but hopefully by the end of next year you will have. And what we're doing there is, I bought this site. I bought it personally. It's like 800 hectares of land. It runs down a river. And this came up on the public block, and there was Koreans bidding on it, and they were going to divide it up and make factories there. But what it is, it's between 2 national parks, 2 giant national parks. And it is the migratory pathway between these 2 parks. And it's a critical link for people, the animals, to get from one food source to the next. So I thought, bingo, let's do something cool and sustainable. We bought it 10 years ago, and we immediately identified who are the people that are killing the animals on site, because they're very poor people, and they have to kill the animals that are living in these forests in order to survive. So we took about 20 families, and now those families now are not the poachers anymore, but they are our rangers, which is cool. We're going to extend the foundation for the program there, and finally, we're going to build Southeast Asia's first private wildlife conservation park hotel and make all of this sustainable. Why sustainable? Because I ain't going to be here forever. I'm not going to be around forever to fund this. I want to be able to set it up so that it has enough steam to operate it by itself as a private reserve. So see this tiny little orange line? That's our land. And that land is right next to Kirikum National Park. And this is the line here, and it runs along, as I said before, a stream. And that's the bad pictures of the stream and the topography of the stream. But within this, over the last 10 years, and this is really the fun part, is that within this, we've found all of these animals on the property, and that's what we're protecting now. And the real fun thing about it was that we went into the community, and we brought with us 5 pictures of monkeys. And we showed the community monkey A, B, C, D, and E. Which one have you seen? And they would say, well, I've seen, and there was 2 trick monkeys in there. 2 of them were from Africa. And then the 3 of them are from Cambodia. And we said, which ones are real? Which ones have you seen? And they would say, well, we've seen this one, and for the most part, they all picked the right answers. And the ones that consistently said the African animals, we didn't disregard what they were saying. So we got this database based on flashcards of pictures. And so all of that database is based on the interviews of about 400 families and what they've been living on. So we know that for sure that these animals are there. And there's a lot of fishing cats. There's some wild elephants. There still might be a tiger or some tiger family in there. There's a lot of birds. And since the last 10 years it's been closed, a lot of the animals have been coming back. So it's closed to poaching. A lot of the animals are coming back. And in Cambodia, which is fantastic, because all over Cambodia, even the national parks, they have no money to ranger. So in 10 years or more or less, all of the animals are going to be gone, period. There won't be any of these endangered species here anymore. So it's important. I know it's an important thing to do, to save the animals. These are our shots of some of the fantastic waterfalls that we have on site. And this is the way we're going to sustain it, right? And I figured, like the tented camp, what I showed you before, like the Four Seasons tented camp, that's very low impact but high yield, where if we can make this work, and if enough good people come, we can make this work at $2,000 a night or something very sustainable, or very expensive rather, and that would give us then enough money to be able to make this whole thing run forever, hopefully. And the funny thing about this, it looks like a television set, but what that octagonal window is, it's a fixed window, and inside of that has, it's like a refrigerator or like a beer thermos. The walls are that thick, right? Are really, really thick, because on this site, it's so, as you saw from that orange line, it's so far from any part of other part of Cambodia. We have to be completely sustainable within our own place. There's no electricity, there's no phone signal, there's no running water, there's nothing, there's no sewage. So what we've done is we've taken, it runs, our stream runs 5 kilometers. What we've done is we've taken a point at 800 meters high, 2 4-inch pipes. And those run about 3 kilometers down. Down here we've got the turbines. And those turbines then are all underground. We're not damming. No one sees anything. And underground we have got these turbines, and that's enough electricity creating that way in order to be able to run the air conditioning in this small, almost thermos-like room. And the room itself, the air-conditioned space itself is only 18 square meters. So it's just big enough to get a bed in. And the rest of it is about 120 meters, and it's all fan-cooled. So the wind comes through there. Also, what's very important is that all of our rooms and the way to get to them, they're all elevated up to the top of that image. They're way up high, so that the animals can migrate throughout our property without being distracted by humans. That's our theory. And over 600 hectares, we only have 15 of these, so it's really low impact. So, and we're also talking to you about toilets, about toilets that recirculate themselves, so because we don't have a system to, and you apparently have a system that is closed system, but it's using very little amount of chemicals. So if you can help us with that, that would be wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good. Thank you. This part on the right-hand side, is a screen that just 3 meters the other side, that's a screen, so that has air that flows through it. Okay. And that's our public areas. Okay. And my final case study is one that's really very interesting. I bet you none of you have heard about this except for Kirsty. That it's in St. Kitts, and St. Nevis and St. Kitts, and that's in the middle of the Caribbean. The Caribbean is a very poor place now, and it is the Nevis especially, it has about 40,000, there used to be slaves, but 40,000, 50,000 people there that live there. And I met it about 5 years ago. I met a great guy named Val Kempadu. And his vision and my vision was to do something in St. Kitts to help the people. Again, social sustainability. That key there was that, and he also had, you know, zillions of bucks in his pocket to build a big, nice resort. We did a 60-room resort. What normally happens in the Caribbean is that they get a giant contract from Korea or a giant contractor from China, and they move in 500 people, bang, set up camp, put the fence around, mix up the walk, build the hotel. 2 years later, you've got the hotel. They take all the profits, everyone leaves, and they've got this big hotel. Did we do that? No. What we did, we designed this. Maybe I got a picture of it. Yeah, we designed this St. Nevis house. It's really simple to build, and we went into the villages and said, okay, Uncle Joe, can you and your team build this house? Yeah, okay, let's do that. Okay, and we gave that guy, that village, a house to build. And when he finished that house, he was then allowed to get another house. So at one time we had 15 different villages working on our site, building these little houses. And some of them built it like shit. You know, they were really horrible. And then so we didn't give them the house again. We didn't give it to them again. And the guys and some of them really excelled, which kept all the money in Nevis. And most importantly, it really made them proud. That God, they come to us and say, we built that. I built that door. You know, they really have this feeling of ownership. And I think that beyond solar systems is sustainable in that now we've got the whole island behind us. To do, and we built it in a very local fashion. But the other, and the last thing I want to talked about is this particular project, and that was also one of Val's fathers. He was Johnny Appleseed of the Caribbean, and one of his main points was the distribution of good plants, good vegetables, all throughout the Caribbean. And we now have on our property, on our farm, and we're also distributing throughout the Caribbean, many types of plants to make a healthier diet for people. So, we've got 850 plants, 850 types of plants there. So I know it might be a little bit short, but I think that's it for me. Yeah.
Don't go away, Bill. Any questions for Bill? Anybody? Lots of journalists in the crowd. You should have a few questions, you lot. That's your job. No? Later. Don't be shy. We can get a microphone up for you and everybody can hear your question. No? Anybody? Yes, down here. Maria.
You had one. I'm Maria, and I'm from Warner Wong Design and WOW Architects, and I'm very happy to be here today. I'm honored that you came to Singapore to share your work with us. I was interested in one of the projects that you said it was in Singapore, I think, and it didn't seem to have any organic matter in it, and it just made me, it had a lot of structures and sculptures that looked like plants. Do you know which one I'm referring to? Yes. And it was curious to me because I can see your love of Asia is incredibly deep in you, and I was curious to know how you see Singapore. Yeah. Yeah.
Best cities urban planning-wise, it's probably one of the best cities in the world. But the project that I think you saw up there is something that both Hock Beng and I worked on for some time. It's the Riadi's house in Sentosa, And they liked nothing. They like total minimalism, and they wanted no plants in there because it'd be difficult to clean up. So I built metal plants. And I know it just sounds really stupid, but yeah, it's true. Yeah, man, they didn't like nothing, and I totally agree. It's not my favorite project, but the plants themselves are really beautifully crafted. Yeah, beautifully crafted. Yeah, yeah, totally. But it's not the way I do it. I live in Bangkok and I live in a jungle. Both my office and my home is a jungle, completely it's a tame jungle, and it's just, but you know, different strokes for different folks. No, not at all. You should go and look at the newest project. It's on Twin Peaks. It's on Grange Road next to the Indian Embassy. If you can get in there, it's really, yeah. And it's all based on Keith Haring. The Keith patterning of Keith Haring, and it's also a tame jungle. And it's that, I think that's fun.
Any more? Question here?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Faraz Al-Sali, Wilson Associates, Managing Director of the Dubai office. So I'm visiting, and it's great to be here, and thank you for inviting me. First of all, I love the boots. I think there's probably a story there, so I'd like to hear it. And you know, Wilson is based in Dallas, so you know, there's an emotional connection. My question actually relates to when you develop gardens, and some of the projects you developed a garden, and it was a sustainable garden and a very well thought out garden to produce food. Mm-hmm. To what extent do you then work with the hotel operator to develop the F&B concepts in the hotel to work with that garden, and do you get involved in that? Do you cross over to get involved into the F&B concept development to then utilize the gardens into the F&B outlets of the hotel?
Well, at Timor Rome, right, we're growing on, like St. Kitts, we're growing on all of the vegetables that we're going to need for the hotel. So am I involved in the F&B concepts? I can't cook an omelet. So you don't want me involved in the F&B concepts. No, so no, absolutely not. But as far as what we're growing, absolutely. I take that all the way through from soup to nuts. And I'll be doing this probably for the next 20 years to more room and getting that whole thing going and finding out which really, we have really acidic soils. So I've got to do a lot of experimentation. We're starting it now.
Microphone, Bill.
We're starting it now, and some of the veggies that we have there are doing very poorly, and some are doing great. So it's a matter of trial and error. It takes many years, too.
But you would do what the chef wanted. If the chef says, okay, I need all these herbs and what have you, you'd say, okay, let's go for it.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm sure there'll be that sort of crossover from what the chef wants and what your gardens are delivering.
Sure.
Isn't it the Belmont Farm? Don't you have like sort of 17 different types of banana or something you were saying to me once?
Yeah,
so did you know there were 17 types of banana? I didn't.
Yeah.
I mean.
They started out
But that's another story as well. Along with the boots, you can catch up with that one a little later. Right now, thank you very much indeed. Bill Bensley, thank you.